Welcome back to misc. This is the show I do each and every Monday where I detail what I have been watching, reading, listening, or experiencing. This week, I want to talk to you a little bit about The Kingsman, The Golden Circle, the sequel to the previous Kingsman movie. I was actually a pretty big fan of the first Kingsman movie. Matthew Vaughn is an interesting director. I have some criticisms overall about what he finds interesting, but that's not this video. And it took me a little bit by surprise. It was this kind of update to a James Bond / Jason Bourne type of story, but with a mentor and a mentee coming into their own, getting those, special agent superpowers and taking down a bad guy who's ridiculously over the top. It was something that was needed back at the time when I watched it. I just left being kind of a huge fan of this series. And so I came into the sequel being a little bit worried that it was going to have the same thing happen to most sequels, where it just isn't able to live up to the original. But I still held out faith because it looked like they had all the original people and all the original the people behind the scenes, those types of things. Unfortunately, I don't think the movie's all that good. I mean, it's not the worst movie I've ever seen, nor is it like an awful, awful, terrible movie. It is, however, pretty mediocre, like largely dumb, for lack of a better word. And I think there's a few different reasons why that is. Part of it is the same thing that happens to most sequels, where it isn't able to be fresh and new anymore. When Kingsman came out, it was this new take, this fresh look through the same type of movies that we've seen, like James Bond, like Jason Bourne. So it seemed like it was fresh and new. And this one is basically the same thing, except putting it into America more than it is over in the UK. I think part of it also is that the stakes get removed quite a bit. And I talk about stakes a lot when I talk about movies, where that if it doesn't feel like what the protagonist is striving for has legitimate consequences, then it's hard for me to have buy-in to it. So in this movie, why I'm bringing that up is specifically, and I don't think this is a spoiler because they show this in the trailer, but they bring the Colin Firth character back. Colin Firth, his character, was killed off very specifically and very obviously. It wasn't like it was off-screen death. He was killed off in the first movie, and here they just kind of bring him back. And they give us this plot device that is kind of your get-out-of-jail-free card, that even if someone is shot in the head, you can wrap this thing around their face and then bring them back to life. And I really, really dislike this. Like, really dislike this. I use another film as an example of this a lot, which is Elysium, which they kind of do the same thing. Someone gets shot in the head, they put him into a machine, and he comes back to life. And when that happens, when you introduce that into the fiction of the world, then who cares at that point? If we now have technology that can just bring people back to life, then you getting shot or you getting killed or your loved ones dying doesn't really mean that much anymore, because I know you can just bring them back to life. So if you try and use that as a plot device, I'm just like, oh, okay, but so what then? And I feel that that's what they did. I think it was a real big mistake to bring back to life the Colin Firth character anyways. But in the rest of the movie, it's a little bit muddled as far as like character motivations. It seems like it's going through the motions instead of trying anything new. Matthew Vaughn is still able to wreck action scenes in a pretty interesting way that I enjoyed. But we very quickly, at the very beginning of the movie, essentially kill off every other person that we've known in the film. We're only left with the Taron Egerton character. I think I'm saying his name right, hopefully. But the Eggsy character is still left, but everyone else in the Kingsman is killed off, which is a shame because I think there were some really cool things and really cool characters that they could have interacted with, and now they're just gone. Of course, maybe they'll just come back to life in the next movie, who knows. And so I think that kinship of the Kingsman is just completely removed, and we have this person adrift, and we don't really explore that in any meaningful or interesting way. We are just left with Eggsy and the Merlin character, and that's all we have left. Instead of utilizing, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the Lancelot character. She was so good in the first film, and my big criticism of the first one was that she wasn't given a lot to do in the third act, and in this movie, they basically just kill her off in the first 5 minutes, and now she's given nothing to do. And I just feel like they could have interacted with that character a lot more. Even if you don't want those two leads to fall in love, because he's obviously dating this other girl, but there could have been some sort of, not necessarily like a triangle going on, but there could have been some interesting interplays between work friendships and respect versus romantic relationships, that sort of thing. I do think that the main villain is handled really, really well. I'm totally blanking on the very famous actress who plays her. Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore does a phenomenal job of playing up this completely batshit crazy lady who is like stuck in the 1950s, but really feels that she is not giving a fair shot for her drug trade that she now has going on. Alright, so she does well. There's a few different action moments that are good, but for the most part, save for like the first 20 to 30 minutes, which I thought were establishing like an interesting world, an interesting premise, kind of evolves into like a paint-by-numbers action movie that this feels like it had all the elements to be a good film, but they couldn't really wrap a well-done plot there because they're hampered by the Colin Firth character being drugged back and the fact that they've killed off all these other interesting characters, so we're left with just left with introducing a whole bunch of new characters into it, and so it's hard to care about them all when we're only just meeting them now for the first time. Anyways, I'd love to hear what your thoughts were. Maybe I'm just being a big old stick in the mud, which has been known to happen occasionally. So let me know down in the comments what your thoughts and feelings were on the new Kingsman movie, or whether you've liked any of the other, if you like the other Kingsman movie at all. You can tell this was not a professionally done video because I stumbled over so many words. But that's what these Monday videos are, unprofessional. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Kyle. I upload videos every Monday and Thursday. Like I said, you can leave that comment down below. I really would love to hear what you think. And I will see you on Thursday for another vlog. And then next Monday, as we continue this journey through misc. Until that time, watch good stuff.